So here is where we are headed today. Industries in LinkedIn have not changed for like ages. I'll let Mike get into that later. He probably knows more on the dates than I do. They haven't changed forever. And this is what happened to me, is I was doing some research for a client on my account, and I typed in an industry, and it changed right before my eyes. It split into two. And I was like, what is that? I've never seen that before. And then, not even kidding, 1 minute later, Mike sends me a message on LinkedIn. Hey, did you see the new industries? I was like going through it yesterday, and I was like, mine.
All right, folks, let's have some fun. I really have fun with LinkedIn Industries. I really do. I think they're really, really freaking cool. So first of all, how do you find out if you have the new industries? Well, here you go. You go to Sales Navigator here, and you just click on industries, and you'll notice if it says chiropractors and optometrists, and you go like, I don't remember chiropractors and optometrists there. Well, then you've got the new one. Okay, you got the new one. If you're otherwise, you'll see accounting appear at the top here, literally. If you type in a letter, you can start to see the industries alphabetically where the first letter comes in. Right from the very beginning, you can see that you've got some new stuff here. Ambulance services. We never had that, trust me. Some of these artists and writers, there was a category similar to that now. There was, but it's been renamed. So you've got industries that have been renamed, that have been split, combined, all kinds of stuff where there's a remnant there already. And then you've got something that's just brand freaking new here, like ambulance services, okay? So, but what you'll find is there's only so many A's here. In reality, there's a whole lot more than 10 industries that start with the letter A, perhaps. So I went through and I went AA. Oh, how about AB? Oh, abrasives. How about this one? Abrasives and non-metallic minerals manufacturing. There's a new one for you.
What is that?
Abrasives and non-metallic. Where do you see some of these? That's not one of the most unusual ones. So I went through every single one of them, and I cataloged all of them into a spreadsheet, and then did sorting and then categorizing. Let's go ABC or AC. So AC down here. Oh, accommodation, that's new, but accounting is old. AD, administration of justice, that's new. Advertising services. It used to be marketing and advertising. Now there's marketing services and advertising services. Okay. And I've got it all cataloged here. Don't have to worry about, taking a lot of notes here. You'll get a nice spreadsheet here. You'll see here at the end. But this is what I did for, a whole weekend. Just about.
You need a virtual assistant, brother.
Well, no, I have to make these decisions. There's too much engineering here to put this off to a VA. I had a VA check it when we were done, and one of the industries was off. So out of the 380 industries now, wow. I had one that was off. There are now 380. There used to be 147.
So just for kicks and giggles, can you show us how many people are in abrasives and non-metallics?
I can. So here, so let me show you. Nobody picked from their profile abrasives and non-metallics. Okay. Can you believe that? Over 1,000 people.
So would the connection message be, I see you're abrasive and non-metallic?
Yeah, that's right. That's what it would say. Now, one of the things to notice is when you've got these oddball ones, most of them tend to be from outside the United States, Morocco, Brazil. Okay, it's not all of them. Here's Canada, and you'll find some US. But the oddball ones tend to be mostly outside of the US. All right, with these oddball ones here, with these new ones. There must be an algorithm that assigned people to these industries here. And I have gone down this list, and it is not accurate. You'll find nothing abrasive about any of these people. And here you will with this guy here. With this guy you will. But in many of these here, you'll find nothing at all. Have nothing to do. They have empty profiles. An absolutely freaking empty profile is showing up under abrasives kind of stuff. Literally, it'll happen. So let's just jump a little bit to tell you where the big change was. Oops, the big change is in manufacturing. Okay, there are now 80 industries, 92 industries in manufacturing that I have classified as manufacturing. 80 of them have the name manufacturing in them now. Apparel manufacturing, beverage, women's handbag manufacturing. How about that one? Women's handbag manufacturing.
Some Microsoft.
And there are people in it, and they don't manufacture handbags, many of them. Okay, so that's something to consider. So what I did previously, and I spoke about this before, was I took the LinkedIn industries, and I had cataloged them when I spoke a week ago, 2 weeks ago maybe. And here they are alphabetical. These are the current ones, the ones that have been around for, I don't know that there's ever been a change. They've added them, but I don't think there's ever been a wholesale change, Isaac. I don't remember one. And I've been around since 2004. So I took these here and I put them into categories, and the categories are, you know, as you see here. So someone could say, well, I kind of like technology. So we could go to the technology industries and sort through them and say, all right, let's do this. Let's do this. Notice how many start with the word computer. 5. Okay. There's only 2 that now start with the word computer.
Wow.
In the new one.
Surprises me. Yeah.
So this is the old one. So let me announce to the world the new one.
Ooh.
And this is the new one. And let's go by, I'll show you how the makeup is. I have changed the names a little bit. There's now one called energy. There's 19 industries in it. I had to make their own. I couldn't roll that into manufacturing anymore. That has 90 industries in it now. 90. So let's go alphabetically first, and we'll start with A. So it doesn't start with accounting anymore. It starts with abrasives. So in my spreadsheet, I've taken to putting an abbreviation, because we'll talk about doing the ANMM campaign instead of the abrasives and non-metallic minerals manufacturing campaign when we're creating a label or something. So I have abbreviation, a unique abbreviation for each one that kind of starts with the first character of each one. Okay, and then I expand on it a little bit. Okay. So kind of as you scroll down, I'll scroll down a little bit and let you just kind of get a quick look at it. Bed and breakfasts, bars and nightclubs, blockchain, I like breweries. So what I did just before the call here to kind of illustrate for us all here is I had put them into these categories you see. So here they're sorted by category. All right. The first one is business services. And when you see it with a gray, that means it was already there, either exactly like this or very similar. Okay. There are no ampersands anymore. No ampersands. Okay. They're gone. Okay. And I mentioned like marketing and advertising is now marketing services and advertising services. There's a couple hospital options, but let's just kind of scroll through a little bit. And this is business services. For me, business services is a catch-all where I couldn't figure where else to put it. Kind of, this is where things go when they don't belong anywhere else natively. This has changed less than anything else. Business services is more the same than any of the other categories. Let's look at consumer now. There's all this retail stuff. And retail, including a roll-up called retail. There's a roll-up under manufacturing. So I've been on chat with them, asking questions, and the people on chat know a little bit, but not a lot. They couldn't definitively tell me whether people are under just one industry or whether now they have multiple industries they could be under. Okay.
How many did you come up with total for your
380.
380.
Yep. So in a moment, towards the end, we'll talk about what you pick for your industry. Okay. That's another whole thing about your industry. We're just talking about searching on industries here, but you've got an industry you've got to put in your profile. Okay. And if you've got the new industries, then you've got different options than if you have the old industries for what your current industry is. My current, well, here, let's just keep going down this, but we'll keep coming through here. But notice all the retail ones. That's a big deal. And none of them are around from before. They're all new. If you see gray, it's around from before, but sheet metal publishing, you know, come on, zoos and botanical gardens.
Interesting.
Yeah, I didn't know where to put it. So it's part of consumer, you know. Maybe that should be under travel and entertainment. Maybe I might move that one around. There's still some things to be done with the list here. Education, not much changed. A little bit, daycare and stuff. But I mean, for the most part, it's more than half the same. Energy is really freaking new here. All these different power generations, electrical, solar, nuclear, all that's just, there are only a couple that were there. Utilities and renewables were the only ones in this category. Oil, if you're in oil, you got like 3 choices. In oil and gas, oil extraction, oil product manufacturing, I could make a case I'd be on all 3 of those.
Yeah, you can only choose one.
Right? Supposedly. Yeah, you can't only choose one. You can maybe search and be found on multiples if they assign stuff to you on the Sales Navigator side. But it does not look like the LinkedIn industries and the Sales Navigator industries are aligned anymore. On LinkedIn, you go to LinkedIn, you still see the old industries on LinkedIn. You go to Sales Navigator, you see the new ones.
Have you noticed
Seriously.
that they're putting numbers next to those when you search them?
Yeah, it tells you the number of results that you'll find. If you
Not all those categories have numbers as you do that.
Yeah, some of them don't have nothing. I'm sorry, don't have anything. I'm starting to talk kind of Spanish now, you know, because you know, my girlfriend Esmeralda from Spain is going to be here 2 weeks from yesterday. So cool. You'll see her on our calls and stuff. She's coming from 6 weeks. So let's look at financial stuff. How much financial stuff is carryover? Almost nothing. Nothing. 1 gray, 2 gray squares, 3, 4, just a few. Food and beverage. This is really different.
I really like that there's so many more options once it gets, you know, shaked out to be more accurate for the.
Okay, so yeah, so let me show you what that so many more options means. It means you got a whole lot to pick if you want to do manufacturing. Okay, that's how many are in manufacturing. You gotta, and this is without picking anything else out here. Guys, I think that we might run into trouble with timeouts. You know what I mean by timeouts? You got 7 seconds for your search to run, and now it's got to run through 82 industries to hit manufacturing. I only needed 5 before, 10 before, 20. So that could create some issues. Let's go back to the list. There's food and beverage. Horticulture is where all the, you know, hemp and marijuana and all that stuff kind of came from there. Seriously, if you hit horticulture, that's what you're going to mostly see. Seafood product manufacturing. I did not put this under manufacturing, nor sugar and confectionery. I put them under food. There's some cases to be made whether something should go here or there. There really are. Government's quite a bit different. Fire and
yeah, wow.
There's even more down here. See, some of that's been around, you know, some of that's been around, but still there's some really big stuff. Museums, there's 2 museum categories. Zoos appear twice. Zoos, yeah.
Why'd you put religious institutions in government? Just because there was,
didn't know where else to put them.
Yeah,
you know, they could have gone under business. business services, maybe. Yeah. So there's one zoo.
Mike doesn't
Two
understand the
zoos.
principle of separation of church and state.
Right. I mean, we had no zoos. Now we've got 2 zoos. So if you work at a zoo, you really got to figure out what am I doing here? Okay, so there's now we're into like let's look at medical. We've got 2 hospitals and healthcare. Come on, hospitals and healthcare.
Lots of it looks like there's lots of duplicates.
Mhm.
This makes me think that it's going to shake out a bit. Okay,
Yeah.
it does make me think that. Okay, that we're not done, but I have not seen any changes made. There's these leasing categories.
What do you
I
use
like
the
to-
abbreviations for?
Like to name I'll name a lead list. So I'll call it the CRE lead list.
Okay.
For example. Yeah.
Mhm.
Or when I get into where I'm saving things and stuff, this is from last week. Remember
Mhm.
these titles and stuff? Okay.
Have they taken away a lot of the Boolean search for the different, for any of the categories? Like industry, you can't do Boolean now, right?
There's no Boolean in industries. It's all checkbox.
Mhm.
Yeah. So like blockchain is new. I mean, that's pretty interesting, but nobody picked blockchain, but it's assigned. It's got a whole lot of people in it. They get into weird stuff, embedded software. I mean, that's a whole IT suite,
Wow.
kind of like retail. Remember retail had a bunch? Here we are. Manufacturing has a bunch, but the word manufacturing appears at the end. We've got ones that appear at the beginning. See here. Retail, the word appears at the beginning, so you can type in RET and start seeing it. Transportation, postal, sightseeing, shuttles and stuff. I mean, it's great for targeting, but nobody in the shuttle business is going, oh, I got to go change my to shuttles here. People need to know to go change their industries here. This stuff's not going to, it's accurate as the algorithm. Travel. So
Interesting.
I'll put my email address in the chat window. Okay. And if you want access to this list, I'll either send it to you or I'll give you a link to it. I'm not sure which yet because it's still a live document. And then you can get access to this. I don't have a landing page for it. I'm not going to just send it to people who don't want it. But if you send me an email, I'll send you this. Now I'm writing an article on this, and I've stopped writing because there's things that are undetermined still. So let me go over in the article what I think is important for you to know. I'm going to publish the article this week, regardless. There are 380 industries. So let me zoom in a little bit. And here's how it looks in LinkedIn right now for me. Right now, I can see the old industries on LinkedIn, but I see the new industries on Sales Navigator. Professional training and coaching, I can type in PROF and find nothing over here on the right. I can type in CHIRO and find nothing on the left. Okay. So that's a big deal. So I can look under professional right now. Professional training and coaching appears as pure text. It's not matched up to anything on my profile. It is like a pure text field. My industry is non-existent. The new industries appear on your profile if you have them on sales. For some people do. If you've got the Sales Navigator, you got the new industries over there, and some people don't have the new industries over there. So some people will see professional training and coaching and be able to pick it, and other people, it's just going to be text there. And when you go to save it, you can't save it. You have to back out. I don't know what industry I'm going to choose, frankly, next. But you see here, prof, no professional training and coaching anymore. Look at the oddball stuff, artificial rubber and synthetic fiber manufacturing. There's just really weird stuff that comes out here. Well, I'm sure there's even more weird ones than the ones that we talked about. So this is actually now, I had to take 3 of them out from manufacturing. 0 there, and there was one more somewhere. Okay. So so here's my insights on it. We've only got 7 seconds to run a search. And now if you want to run industry, if you want to run stuff, you got to run, a lot more industries, which is going to make it more likely to time out, I believe. Okay. So
You think because they're trying to make it more granular, you won't have to run such a long string though?
Maybe less Boolean.
no, I don't believe, I believe in a fantasy world. Yes, perhaps, Monty. If
Okay.
all 700 million users re-examined what industry they think they should be in and chose from those options that are there now, yes, but the algorithm is crap right now, at least in terms of assigning to people. It's crap. I mean, there's people with blank profiles showing up under these oddball industries. Here, let me put my email address in the window here before I forget. Okay.
All right. So Mike, while you're doing that, just want to make sure you're ready to move into panelist discussion before we do open Q&A.
Great. Good with me.
Yep.
There it is. There's my email if you want it. Send me an email and I'll send you some version of the list that you saw there. And
Awesome.
I'm not anticipating it to change much. A little bit here and there.
All right. So are we ready to move into panelist discussion, Mike? Because I've got a few questions. I really want to start. I'm totally going to leverage host status here. Okay. So I was writing things out as you were going. So I just want to confirm. So new industries right now, just in sales nav. You won't see it in search in LinkedIn, but I think when you go to your profile or company page, you can select the new one.
Correct. That is all correct.
Yep. Okay, so that's good to know.
By the way, not necessarily everybody can see it. Okay.
Right.
But if you have it on Sales Navigator, you got it on your profile, you got it on your company page.
I think next thing, so the new industries are both available and have been applied both on the lead search and account search, right?
Correct.
Okay, cool. And then in your estimation, which industries like went away? Like you're talking about professional training and coaching. It's kind of like now that was kind of clear, like what, any other ones that you feel like kind of just got nuked?
Yeah. So let me go down. I just from pure memory. Okay. But I mean, I really know the industries really well. Okay. So I call this the 2021 list. Let's go down that, and I'll just go down the ones that I think that are gone or changed significantly. Frank, I don't care too much about. Let's go by categories. Some of these categories I care a lot more about. Okay. Business equipment and supplies is gone. It's now retail office equipment. I have quite a bit of insight here. I'll go down a little bit here. Civil engineering.
I do want to make sure that we make time for about 15 minutes for panelists and then 15 minutes for open Q&A.
Okay, so within finance, all they did is add a word. This is now called venture capital and private equity partners or something like that. And there's no ampersands anymore. Philanthropy is gone.
Oh, wow, that's a big one.
Supermarkets is gone.
My question with you saying them being gone is if this if the new search hasn't been rolled out to everybody, they can't technically be gone, right? Because some
gone is an option, and gone is an option in the new search, right? That's what I mean.
You're going to get moved somewhere else if you were in a category that got nuked.
Yeah,
that actually happened.
Right. That's right.
That happened with us, Mike. And so like our company page and my profile were both marketing and advertising services because they were combined. And then LinkedIn decided that both me personally and our company page were advertising. So auto changed it. Yeah. So.
Yep. I mentioned that one that got split. Okay. Marketing services, advertising services. There's a couple newspaper and publishing things that are new. So this might have been replaced by book publishing. Some of them literally with the name changed. If you put in the industry code 80 for that industry, it now is under publishing in the old one. It's under now 80 is now publishing and books in the new one. If the code is the same, the industry code is the same. Now the URL that goes into these things, let me show you what the URL looks like that goes into these things, because it's changed. It's changed a whole lot. Okay, never mind. Okay, never mind. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, Mike. I don't want to get too in the weeds here
Got it.
because I want to make time for just
Yep.
your kind of average user for industries.
Isaac,
I
I
mean,
want to,
So you asked about which ones were gone. See the computer ones? There's only a couple of computer ones. It's now called software programming instead of computer software. You know, still there. It might even cut over. The code might be the same so that it just changes names. But that's mostly it. It's mostly additions.
Isaac, I want to go back to what you had to say there about our company and them changing it on their own behalf in terms of what we were. So if you guys have a company, and you should go back and check and see if they've changed your category, because we're not an advertising company. So we have to go back and change that to make sure we get under the right category, right? So you should look at if they've changed you inappropriately.
Yep. So question for you, Mike. When you do, it seems like there's parent-child, right? Like where as an warehousing. Can you do a search for warehousing, select the industry, predetermined industry warehousing, and then it pulls in all the child?
Here, let me show you. This will blow your mind. How some of these things. Let's get a.
Can you jump to account search for me real quick?
Yeah, I can.
That was one thing that when I was playing around with it when I first got it, I typed in.
There was not a parent child. There was not.
Yeah, go to industry and type in manufacturing, just manufacturing.
If I type in manufacturing, notice you only see about 8. I found 80 with the word manufacturing.
Right, but hang on. Just type in manufacturing and then select that top one. And then you'll see on the actual subcategories of manufacturing.
It timed out. Can you believe that?
Will appear. That's sweet. Maybe try refreshing. When I did that last, I noticed all kinds of subcategories of manufacturing, even though I like the ones that you were talking about. Maybe they're doing changes right now. So
they are. So my technique on that would be to circle out manufacturing and pick these other ones and see what we see, to see if there's a roll up. Do you know what I mean? Pick the others.
Mm-hmm.
And see if there's a roll up. But there's 80 that can't be found unless you type the name of the actual thing. You have to type in like women's to find women's handbag manufacturing. You can't find women's handbag manufacturing just with the word manufacturing. It will not match on the third word. That's why I had to go through every letter of the alphabet combined with every other letter of the alphabet to create that list.
Well, it seems like there's manufacturing is a parent, because when you do manufacturing, and this is the only one I messed around with, I noticed all of the subcategories of manufacturing were all included in that search without me individually selecting them.
Manufacturing word appears near the end out there, and the others have retail that appears at the beginning, and IT that appears at the beginning, which makes you think, maybe differently. If that didn't crash there, you do the big search on manufacturing, you zero it out, and then you bring the little ones in and see if you find deltas. And we just couldn't do it right here, but I'll bet you will. I don't think there's that much intelligence in it yet. I don't think there's a roll up. I thought that really through, Isaac. You get it with IT systems, manufacturing, and retail. There's 3 places, I think, where you get that.
Interesting.
And power generation, the roll up of power generation, maybe. That's the other place where there's more than 6 of the same.
All right, other panelists, I'm going to shut up now. So all you other panelists, now's your time to grill Mike with questions. And I have more.
Answer them all. Go ahead, Isaac. I'll call on you.
All right, so it seems like, with every person and company being reassigned their industry, Lead search, or like the search on person in normal LinkedIn search, by industry was always really dirty and really muddy, right? Because people confuse their role in the company with their actual industry, or they forget to update it. And I think that now it's going to be even more dirty. So I never really did like doing lead search at the industry level. And now I'm going to probably avoid it even more and start at the account level. And even the account level might be a little bit funky for a while, but I think I'm probably just going to really not rely on the lead search industry filter for a while.
So let's just pretend that the algorithm gets better, Isaac, because it could. I mean, a blank profile appearing under artificial manufacturing of tires, whatever it is, shouldn't happen. Do you agree? I mean, that algorithm has got some issue with it, but let's say it gets better, it gets better, it gets better. I see the future of this being pretty good, where allocations are made, but they're made based on the words that you put in your profile. And copy and pasted boilerplate text from the template that the company sends out, one thing, everyone's got the same words and stuff, but all these employees sitting at their home trying to write their own little words to be found, different story. So there's a lot to be had with how that algorithm looks at things. Does it look at what you like and comment on and stuff? Well, only so many people like and comment, but everyone has a profile. So we know it's looking at the words in your profile to draw some conclusions about you.
I wonder if they use groups a lot for this to define these new categories and stuff.
That would be one of those factors totally in that algorithm. I would have groups in that algorithm for sure. I would.
I bet a lot of this is being driven by the advertising platform more than SalesNav. I would imagine.
Yeah, that's probably a good point.
So much revenue comes through advertising, and a lot of the advertising is account based. And so I bet that a lot of that's driving what we see here, and it's kind of just a collateral benefit to the Sales Navigator product.
Mhm.
I agree.
I think my main takeaway, Mike, is, since this is really pertinent for targeting, is we should expect for the next few months, industry level targeting to be kind of garbage in a way, right? So that's a really important takeaway, that if everyone's getting reassigned industry and it's really muddy, you'll have to really clean up your targetings, I think, here in the short term. And
I'm doing really badass Boolean on the keyword field now that I wasn't doing. I've got Booleans that go out, very far now, 20 words in the Booleans now, with ors and ands and brackets and all that kind of stuff, to try to compensate for this a little bit. They were never that accurate anyway, because of, someone, I'm in marketing at Lockheed. Well, I got 6 options for what industry you should be in then. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Defense and space, airlines, marketing, advertising, professional services, all kinds of stuff.
All right.
But Lockheed's going to pick one. See, Lockheed's going to pick one.
Yeah.
And that's where you come from. That's why we both like that so much.
Any other panelist questions for Mike before we move into open Q&A? All right, open Q&A.
Blank stares. Did I really blank stares there? Was that of any interest? It was really geeky stuff,
Mike, my head is just spinning right now, is sort of how, I don't know if it applies to my industry specifically, but I did have to go in and change my my own industry for my profile. So I just went in and did that now because I was under advertising too, which I don't do. So, I would encourage everybody to go in and just double check that.
For sure.
Mike, have you looked at all at that financial services and see if they've broken that down anymore to make any distinction between financial planners and advisors from stockbrokers and stuff? Has that
that's right here
more?
That's totally broken down more here. Let me show you. Quite a bit different. You've got advisors now. Where was it?
Financial services, investment advice.
Advice, yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
never saw anything with advice before. That was.
Yeah, investment advice, advancement management. Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
I'm still pulling the ones that were still there before. I think we had investment banking before, investment management, for example. So I just
Yeah.
today started putting together which ones are new and stuff here for us. But yeah, it's most the big deal is mostly the new stuff that came in. Now the whole lot of them just have slight misspellings. They added an S. Fundraising now has fundraising without the dash. Just little stuff, you know. And I got all that cleaned up. But you discover that when you
Our
do
open-
it for a whole weekend.
Open Q&A. So let's do this. If anyone wants to ask Mike and the panelists a question, use the Zoom raise your hand option, and then we'll get you taken care of.
We have a bunch of
Laura,
questions
you are up.
in the chat too, Isaac. So when you get to that.
Hi, I've always thought that the personal industries were quite inaccurate, as you said, Isaac, because it seemed to me that people were updating it when they first set up their LinkedIn and never went back to it, sort of a hidden bit of the profile. I might have missed this because I was a little bit late, sorry about that. But are you saying that the personal industries are being updated just by LinkedIn based on something that they're seeing?
No, the personal industries are not being updated.
Right.
Only the in the searches. When you go to your profile, your industry it shows you your industry, and in my industry, it just shows a text field because I don't match to anything anymore.
Right.
So I'm an orphan. You can't find me anymore in a search, perhaps. I don't know. On Sales Navigator, you can't, because my industry does not exist, you know, at least if you're searching a certain way. But they're not making changes to your personal industry on your profile. I've not seen that where they make a change. We were talking about company pages, and Isaac's company page got changed, but not
Right.
profiles, not profiles. LinkedIn's
that
not
means-
changing that.
So that means that because people generally wouldn't think to update that, then we're going to have loads and loads of people just floating like yourself.
Correct.
Well, here,
Perhaps
let's do
potentially.
this. This is exactly what Mike's talking about. Marketing and advertising, Laura, is gone. Right? It's no longer a single industry. And so I can type, looks like whatever.
Yeah. But
Market-
people aren't going
so
to do that, are they?
maybe they
Don't, right?
maybe it's like maybe it's like inflation, maybe it's transitory. maybe they're leaving it like that until something, I don't know, but yeah, that just to
Okay.
give you a visual. I
Thank
would
you.
suspect actually that they'll eventually force a migration.
My second question was about the rollout. Do you know, I'm in the UK, I haven't seen any of this. Is this like all over the US? Is it coming to Europe? Does anybody know?
I've only checked it in the US. 5 out of 15 in our test have the new deal. So 1 out of 3 in our
Okay.
in our
Yeah,
case, but
that's
they're all US and Canada.
Awesome.
But I don't know.
Good
Thank
question,
you.
Laura.
That's me done.
Yep. Anybody else want to do a live question before we address whatever is lingering in chat? Actually, I don't see anything else in chat. This is it. Munch, you'll have to edit out this dead space. Dude.
We have, did you get Laura's question?
Yep, and then Laura actually just asked.
I
it,
just
so.
asked it, yeah.
Let's do that one, right? Second one too, yeah. Okay. Yeah, might have covered it.
I'll jump in here, Isaac. I was just gonna ask or Mike, if this stuff is all based on, do they sync it up to SIC codes, or did they just kind of go into their own realm and go, oh, let's make a bunch of new categories here and for industries?
You know, in my head, I've replayed what it's like to be in the meetings where they're coming up with these new industries. How about sheet music?
Right, there you go.
I know. How about guitar players?
Abrasive.
Women's handbag manufacturing was one that just really took it to the epitome to me. You know, No, I don't think it had anything to do with SIC codes. And you know, when you start to look at it, and I look at it a lot, okay, you start to see the things that are missing too, you know, the ones that are missing. How about social media? How many people work in social media? More than in abrasives manufacturing.
One would hope so.
So, I mean, that's just one that hits kind of close to home. That would have been a great category to have.
I think they
So-
probably
so-
just added all the people from social media into abrasives manufacturing.
Well, I think my big takeaway here is if you want to be found in search, you should look at your profile and company page and make sure that it's right. That's action item number 1. And action item number 2, if you're using LinkedIn for sales, marketing, advertising, you should probably rely on account level targeting and expect it to be a little bit dirty for the next 3 to 6 months. I think those are my 2 big takeaways. Any other things you'd add there, Mike, for kind of
No, I
condensing
think
it all at the end?
I think that's really good.
Mike, it'd be interesting if you did if you took some of those categories like the abrasives and did a group search, see if there was any groups that were titled
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I'll take a look. There were the categories that I did my initial test at had some really totally blank profiles. And I did not think to go to look to see if they were in a group. That was new. Maybe it's blank, but they belong to the sandpaper group, you know, something like that. Or like if you work at 3M, you know, you might get categorized as sandpaper, you know, because that's a product that the company makes. Think about it. The company makes certain products and maybe put you into a category that's related to that. Now, there's no Post-it note category, but you know, they missed a few.
Bernie's asking if you can have more than one industry on your personal profile.
No. You can
All
have
right, if there
zero
are no
or
other-
zero or 1. You're 0 if you've got one that's gone, and you're 1 if you picked one.
But only one. You cannot be.
Right.
You cannot
Only
be
one.
more than one thing, like sandpaper. You got sandpaper or nothing.
But
All right,
changing my
William
emotions.
Sims sneaking in before we wrap it up. William, you're up. Oh,
Yeah,
that was a celebration. Oh, boo, sorry.
first of all, I see that Mike's a proud Minnesotan. Mike, I'm originally from Minnesota. So I'm
Me
a
too.
proud Minnesotan myself. So someone who uses LinkedIn for search, how do you suggest they manage or react to these changes?
there's no changes to the industry on LinkedIn. So if you're doing LinkedIn search, there's really no change there right now other than a mismatch where you're going to be searching for people for professional training and coaching, and that industry doesn't exist on people's profiles anymore. You know, there'll be a little bit of mismatch on that. Let me share that the list. Really, send me an email. I'll send you these spreadsheets, because you would really prefer to be using the legacy industries as much as possible, because they're already populated with people who chose that industry. I wouldn't venture off of the legacy industries into these oddball ones with as much, confidence right now. But I am confident that if people pick professional training and coaching, and you're looking for a coach, or you're looking at one of the industries was there before and is still there, I would hone in on those industries for now and stay away from these new ones that are still being kind of determined. People
Mike,
picked one and it hasn't changed.
Mike, I've got a question for you. So when we're doing, like market research during onboarding, we'll do that at the lead level and the account level. And oftentimes, especially the account level, there's industry in there. And so we'll save those searches both in Sales Nav and on a spreadsheet, because it's just easier to edit, the stuff in a spreadsheet and then kind of go from there. I find that when big changes happen and it's saved in Sales Nav, they kind of fix it for you. But if it's a URL string, it gets broken. So my question is, have you tried to load a URL with the old industries after you got the update, does it change it? Is it broken? What happens there?
All right, so let's go both ways. Okay, so I took the new one and ran it with someone who had just the old one. And the industries that don't match up have a number. It'll say like 134. It's still a green bubble, but it doesn't match up to a name anymore. It just has a number, and that's how it works when it doesn't find a matchup. Is it puts a number in a bubble and it still shows a green bubble there, but it doesn't have an industry name in it anymore. It just has a number, and there's nothing in it. You just got to exit out. But I tried that, going from people that had one and the other and going in both directions like you tried, and that's what happens when it doesn't match up.
Yeah. So if you're watching this or here live and you do a lot of that and you save your stuff outside of the save search option in Sales Nav, just be aware that when that change happens and you load that search, your industry parameters might be broken.
Another component I'll show you. Let me the URL. Please keep asking questions here, but I wanted to show you that the URL. It really does matter. Just a little bit for you to kind of see what the URL looks like. Previously, the URLs. I'm going to share my screen. Previously, the URLs had a code. Okay, they had a code that said industry equals 80, industry equals 90, that kind of thing. And I have all those codes. But now in the search, it actually says air conditioning supply. You see that here? The actual words are in the URL. They're not codes anymore. Rubber products manufacturing. So it's really hard for me to reverse engineer this and do the spreadsheet like I did before with all of this stuff in it.
I bet they're moving towards natural language processing type thing.
Could seem that way. Yep, that's right. But it would have said before industry equals 80, 90, 174, 42, and now it says the names in there in the URL. Much more complex now. It was easy before. I had it all figured out. I had every single code on Sales Navigator figured out for every single field, and I don't anymore. At least not in this. Not with the new search. I don't.
We have 7 minutes left for open Q&A before we push the big red end button.